Hi, and welcome to the Book Bar, where everything bookish is on the menu. I'm Anjanette Barr, and today I have a super fun quiz to take. I'm just going to record my screen and take this for the very first time. My friend Dominic sent this to me from Legend Fiction. It's brand new. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. I'm excited to do this with you. And before I get into the quiz, I just wanted to show you this about page for Legend Fiction so that you know what this group is. It says Legend Fiction is a movement to create popular fiction informed by our faith, not to be pushy or preachy, but to fascinate and subcreate. It has this great explanation of the different types of writers and says we are the populati. Our focus is renewing popular themes from modern culture, faith-inspired fiction that fascinates and dramatizes how our faith is lived out in the modern world. We are the populati because dragons are awesome. So if you're interested in this group and wondering if you fit in, go to the website and check out this statement here. It says, we're not about filling our shelves with more Catholic or Orthodox fiction for our own tribe. Our craft is inspired by our creed, but it's craft first. We are grounded and pulled by our sacramental relationship with creation. And it goes on and talks all about what this group is like. We're about creating new worlds without end. So if you're a Christian of any kind, you may be interested in this group. But if you love fantasy and sci-fi, I encourage you to check it out regardless. So doesn't this look so fun? Legend Fiction is a great group for authors, especially authors who write sci-fi, fantasy, any kind of speculative fiction. And it's a wonderfully supportive community. And Dominic, the founder, has come up with this very fun quiz called the Wheel of Legend to find out what kind of legend author you are. So I am excited to find this. Looks like I'm excited to do this. It looks like the options are going to be Visioneers, Challamancers, Wanderies, or Excalibrin. That's creative. Okay, so we're going to find out which type of legend author I am by starting the quiz. Okay, first question. What kind of setting do you like to write about the most? So my options are epic fantasy worlds with their own rules and mythologies, historical settings with their own unique cultures and customs, contemporary or modern settings with their own unique challenges and conflicts, or futuristic or dystopian societies with their own technological advancements and societal issues. Oh, that's hard. I think a lot of us like to write about all those things, but I tend to write, so I have a love for portal fantasy for sure. So if I'm going to be writing fantasy, or if I'm going to be writing speculative fiction, it's usually portal fantasy or fantasy at the least. So I'm leaning toward the top one. Um, let's see. Oh gosh, you could have contemporary fantasy, but probably I'm going to go to a different plane, not necessarily our past, present, or future. So I'm going to click number 1. All right, next question. Which of the following types of stories do you find most satisfying to read or to write? Intense dramas with complex characters and emotional conflicts, thought-provoking stories that explore complex ideas and themes, action-packed adventures with epic battles and quests, or intriguing mysteries with unexpected twists and turns. Well, so I'm a literary agent, and I read a lot of queries, a lot of manuscripts, and then I read a lot for pleasure. I also write, and I have to say that I tend to be a plot person, not a character person. I love well-written characters. They're totally essential, but I don't like I guess what would be called the character-driven novel as much as the action or plot-driven novel. I think what I really like about the reading experience is getting swept up and carried away, and sometimes that can happen with really excellent character-driven novels, but usually that kind of escapism is easier to find with action. So I'm torn though. I have two. So the action-packed obviously sounds like me. But this one, the thought-provoking stories that explore complex ideas and themes, is absolutely my jam. So even above action and plot moving forward or excellent characters, the big ideas of stories have to be what makes a story really unique. If it's going to be a favorite of mine, if I'm going to say this is one of my top 10, it's going to be because it makes me really think. It makes me picture myself somewhere else and think through those, like this says, complex ideas and themes. And I tend to write the same. So even though I like writing stories that have a lot of action, and I don't necessarily just want to write an issue book where we're just writing about some moral or some point we want to make. I want it to be a good yarn, a good story. Those ideas are paramount for me. So I'm actually going to go with that one, the ideas. All right. Which of these traits do you most admire in a legendary hero? Compassion and empathy, intelligence and wisdom, strength and power, or courage and bravery? Oh, or all of those combined into the most amazing person ever. Um, a hero, a legendary hero. I'm trying to think of some of my favorites. Usually, I love the compassionate, wise mentor figure. You know, I love when they have both of those things, both um, the compassion and empathy, and the intelligence and wisdom. And then if they're strong and brave, that's great too. But I'm gonna have to choose between those two: compassion and empathy, or intelligence and wisdom. I'm gonna go with intelligence and wisdom, and I hope they're also compassionate. What kind of story do you enjoy reading the most? Mind-bending mysteries and puzzles, romance and drama, heroic quests and adventures, or thrilling suspense and action? Hmm. Um, so I do tend to kind of flop back and forth between reading things that are a little bit more dramatic and then a little bit more action-packed. I think I like to go back and forth and not read too many of one kind back to back. Um, I don't mind mysteries or suspense, and I like when those elements are in them, but something isn't going to probably grab my attention just because it's a mystery or just because it's a thriller. So I'm going to go for either romance and drama or heroic quests and adventures. And most of the times it's going to be a hit if it's a heroic quest and adventure, and it could be a miss with romance if it's a lot of different types of romance. There's a lot that can go wrong for romance with me, for me. So it's more likely that I'm going to like it if it's a heroic quest and adventure. Okay, next one. Looks like we're at 23%. When it comes to crafting the plot of your stories, which of the following themes do you tend to focus on the most? Okay, so we're crafting the plot here. Discovering secrets and hidden knowledge, conquering challenges and enemies, overcoming personal struggles and obstacles, or building and strengthening relationships. Okay, so we've got, like, the first one, discovering secrets and hidden knowledge, is kind of that external conflict, but it's a puzzle of some kind. And there may be a little bit of intrigue going on. Number two, conquering challenges and enemies. That's a very external conflict. It's usually there's a problem and you're heading into it, right? And you have to solve it. Overcoming personal struggles and obstacles is internal. And then building and strengthening relationships is like the friendship drama or the buddy comedy or the buddy adventure. So, and it could also be, if it's dramatic, it could be closer familial relationships or romantic relationships. But when I'm plotting my stories, I always think about the external conflict. Well, that's not true. Sometimes I think of the internal conflict, but I always make sure there is an external conflict because I do think that we need that rise and fall of action, and it's okay if there's a character arc that follows it, but I really feel like that external conflict is really important. Um, so when I'm plotting, there's always a challenge or an enemy or both. It doesn't have to be a villain, but there's always a problem to uncover. I will say when I'm reading, I really like secrets and hidden knowledge, but when I'm writing, I usually think pretty simplistically at first about my challenge, my conflict. Okay, if you could live in any world, which one would it be? Harry Potter. So it says the magical world of Harry Potter, full of wonder and adventure, the idyllic community of Hobbiton, full of festivals and fairs, the streets of Sherlock's London, full of scientific breakthroughs, or the post-apocalyptic world of the Hunger Games, full of danger and survival. Are there people that would choose that? My anxiety says no. So not number four. Um, well, it's just I'm a Tolkien girl. I'm just gonna have to say Hobbiton, although I'd rather it have said Lothlorien. But Hobbiton's great too, so I'm gonna say that. Okay, which of the following environments do you find most inspiring? A mysterious castle full of secrets and hidden treasures, a rugged wilderness full of challenges and adventures, a bustling city full of energy and excitement, or a peaceful garden surrounded by nature and beauty? I love almost all of those. I'd say number three is my least favorite. I love castles. I love anything gothic, secret passageways, hidden treasures, all that kind of stuff. Rugged wilderness. I live in Alaska, so there you go. And then peaceful gardens surrounded by nature and beauty. I'm actually reading The Secret Garden to my kids right now. Love it, love it, love it, love it. But the question is, which ones do I find most inspiring? So I'll definitely say a mysterious castle. When I visit some place that just has a specific ambiance, you know, that atmospheric is the word I'm looking for. When I'm someplace that just has the vibe that makes you ask questions, you know, why was this here? What was this used for? Who lived here? What happened here? Just stories start flooding in. So that would be the one I find most inspiring. Okay, what kind of protagonist do you enjoy writing the most? A reluctant hero, a passionate lover, the fierce warrior, or the wise mentor? I already can tell you it's the reluctant hero. I don't know why that's the trope I always go for, but for some reason that that person who doesn't set out to be the hero but's fully capable of being the hero is who I always end up writing. I love writing all the others too, especially the wise mentor, but the reluctant hero is my jam. Okay, what would your legendary epithet or title be? The swift or agile, the wise or sage, the brave or valiant, or the indomitable or the unyielding? It would not be the. Okay, so I took a quiz this year, not a quiz, a random word generator. Jen Fullweiler has one, and it gives you a word of the year, and mine was unstoppable. And I joked about it with my friends because it's not something I would choose for myself. I don't think I would choose the indomitable or unyielding either. I'm not a stubborn person. I'm fairly flexible. If I could choose one for myself, I would definitely love Anjanette the Wise. As silly as that sounds. If I could just choose something to be known by, if there was something that I wanted people to think of me as, Wise would be my choice. Okay. Oh, I didn't choose one. Okay, guys, there you go. Make sure you click the button. Good job having a big scary red. You missed something. Okay, so what role do you typically play in a group? The observer and analyst, the peacemaker or mediator, the protector and defender, or the leader and decision maker? All right, so I am extroverted. I am an enthusiast. I'm an advocate. And when I'm in a group that needs a leader, I tend to be the leader. However, my preference is always the peacemaker or mediator. So if there are other leaders, I'm happy to step aside and let them lead and bridge the gap. So I'm a bridge maker by nature. I love to, make sure that everybody has what they need, and to see things from all perspectives and try and find those missing pieces. So this is me. All right, what kind of writing style do you enjoy the most? Intense and action-packed, sensual and romantic, epic and grandiose, philosophical and introspective. So this is reading. What type of writing style do I like the most? So I love a good romance. I love all of these things in their place. I think all of these things can be too much for me if it's all they are. You know, when something is very introspective and philosophical, I lose my attention span goes. Although I love philosophy in in writing. I love it when it's like in a genre that you don't expect to be challenged by. And again, I like romance, but I really love romance when it's a sub plot. And I love action. I love really well written action scenes, but if the whole thing is action, then I also am going to lose. I'm gonna lose. It's gonna be overstimulating. So I suppose if I had to choose, I would always choose epic. I think I think in an epic and something on a grand scale, you have to pace yourself, and so there tends to be more of that, more of all of these things, more time for all of these things. Okay, which of the following values are most important to you? Honesty, integrity, and justice, empathy, compassion, and understanding, courage, strength, and determination, or creativity, imagination, and innovation? Ooh, this is a great question. Those are great categories, and they're all goods, right? We all, as people, need all of those, and so it's excellent that we need all of them. So, um, in my life, I usually tend to choose. I flop back and forth between honesty, integrity, and justice, and empathy, compassion, and understanding because I desperately want everything to be fair. But when it can't be, I really think it's important to be able to understand the motivations of people and not be their harsh critic. But I'm going to go with that one. Okay. How do you typically deal with difficult emotions? I'm just imagining my husband's answer to this question. Okay, by exploring my thoughts and feelings through journaling or therapy, by facing my fears and challenges head on and using them to grow stronger, by seeking comfort and support from loved ones, or by channeling my emotions into creative activities such as writing or painting. All right, so it's absolutely this one, seeking comfort and support from loved ones, because I cannot do this. Channeling emotions into creative activities, I can't write when I'm at that very high emotion in those moments where you're really grieving or you're really angry or you're really afraid. I can't write during that time. I have to wait for it to settle before I can write. So I have to talk it out first, and then I can do that. And then I can also make a plan and challenge myself and face my fears. And this journaling or therapy, it's just really interesting. You would think being a writer and a talker that would be my go-to, but again, I mean, journaling and therapy are useful. They're just never my first things. It's like those are the things that are more long-term processing. There's like that immediate difficult emotion and thing, and like scenarios where it's like this is happening right now, and then later on, I can in retrospect years later go through and kind of talk about them in more detail or journal them or talk about them to a therapist. So it's this one, seeking comfort and support from loved ones, especially my husband. All right. What legendary villain do you find most fascinating? Interesting. Okay. Maleficent, Loki, Medusa, or Darth Vader? I'm so much more a hero than a villain person. And in fact, often when there's a story or movie told from the villain's perspective, it's not appealing to me on um, first go, which probably harkens back to that whole like integrity, justice, like, they're the bad guy. But I have enjoyed all of these um, characters. I certainly know what all there is to know about all of them, just about. Maleficent, Loki, Medusa, and Darth Vader. I think of those the most fascinating is Loki, but I'm mostly going by the Marvel version of Loki, and there's so many more. Well, I guess it would be true either way. There's so much more to know about Loki than just the Marvel one. But I think even one thing that Marvel did well with Loki is to help us see what's going on internally that makes him that ridiculous trickster. They gave his like daddy issues some voice there. So he's the most interesting. I guess I haven't thought too much about Medusa's backstory, so that could be interesting. And the powers, for lack of a better word, that Medusa has aren't that interesting to me. Um, Darth Vader's just, you know, it's sad. Poor Anakin. Maleficent. Okay, I'm thinking about this too long. Loki. It's Loki. Okay. When faced with a challenge, what legendary hero do you most identify with? Hercules, Mulan, Luke Skywalker, or King Arthur? I have a son named Arthur, so that's my answer. But thinking about it a little bit more, Hercules, no. Um, Mulan is so interesting, isn't she? But I'm not a Mulan. Luke Skywalker, um, I like Luke. Luke would be like my best friend. That's not to say I'm Han Solo. I'm more of a Leia. But I think King Arthur is my answer. Yep. Okay. If you could time travel to any period in history, where would you go? Oh, I don't want to. I don't want to time travel. Isn't it funny? I like to read about other people time traveling. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. World War II, a time of great conflict and sacrifice. The Medieval Ages, a time of adventure and discovery. Ancient Greece, the birthplace of philosophy and democracy. Or Renaissance Italy, the renewal of art and science. Okay. So actually, I do have an answer. I would much rather go to ancient Greece than any of these others because I feel like we have such, we have, it's, we think we know about ancient Greece, but I have a feeling that we know so little. Really, what we know about ancient Greece is almost we're projecting it from a Western standpoint. That it would be really interesting to see what ancient Greece was actually like. Um, and I think that Renaissance Italy and the medieval ages, although it doesn't say a place, and obviously medieval Asia is going to be different than medieval Europe, um, have a more obvious influence on us. And I have zero desire to go back to World War II. Okay, what kind of adventure would you like to go on? An expedition to a distant planet to explore its mysteries, an epic battle against a powerful enemy to save the world, a quest to find a lost treasure or artifact, or a journey to the center of the earth to discover its secrets? Well, I think the secret at the center of the earth is heat, and that's it. And I think um, lost treasure or artifact. I'd love to read about someone else doing that. Epic battle against a powerful enemy. I would totally do it if necessary. I don't think I want to. But an expedition to a distant planet to explore its mysteries, sign me up. Absolutely. Okay, what kind of conflict do you like to explore in your writing? Good versus evil, survival versus destruction, identity versus society, or love versus duty? Oh, these are great. I want to write these down and use this for brainstorming. Okay, give me a minute. All right, so what kind of conflict do I like to explore in my writing? Oh man, I think I tend to go for either good versus evil or identity versus society. Um, Obviously, one is pretty internal and one is external, but I think a lot of times identity versus society can actually be external if the your identity does not match the expectations of society, and I do tend to write about that quite a bit. Survival versus destruction. I like reading about that sometimes. Hmm. But in writing, I think I'm going to say good versus evil. But I will say that as much as I wish the world were very, very black and white, I really enjoy when good versus evil digs a little deeper and exposes how convoluted that can get. Okay. Which literary archetype resonates with you the most? The explorer or adventurer, the martyr or savior, the trickster or rebel, or the mentor or guide? All right, so the one that resonates with me the most is the mentor or guide. So I'm a mother of four. Like I said, tend to be the extrovert in all of my groups, and I tend to get pushed into the leader role. I love to be seen as wise. I tend to be that person, the mentor or guide. So that's the archetype that I tend to, so like, you know, Lord of the Rings, I love Galadriel. Star Wars, it's Yoda, you know. So that's probably the one that resonates with me the most. You gotta click the button. Okay, what is your favorite mythical artifact? Oh, exciting. Excalibur, the One Ring, the Golden Fleece, or the Philosopher's Stone? Oh my goodness, so good. The One Ring terrifies me. So I had to get a new wedding ring, not a couple of years ago, and our first wedding ring was a wonderful gift, but wasn't necessarily sentimental, except for the fact that it had, you know, been the one we had used in our wedding, and we were trying to consider something fun, and my husband suggested having, you know, the One Ring as our wedding rings, and I had a very visceral reaction. I wanted to like that idea, but it's like it really kind of scared me. Isn't that hilarious? So it's Excalibur. We're just gonna come and say it's Excalibur for sure, and I have a little Arthur to prove it. Okay, which genre do you prefer to write in? Romance, thriller, fantasy, or science fiction? Um, I prefer to write in fantasy, but I'm also coming to enjoy writing romance. So I've written several things, but I've written more nonfiction than fiction, and my fiction, my full length pieces, and I've written lots of short stories, but my longest pieces have been kind of romance, women's fiction, or fantasy. And I like writing fantasy more. I find it's I don't know, you know, the romance, women's fiction with contemporary issues maybe is a little faster for me to write because you know, I've got a lot more lived experience, but the fantasy is a lot more fun. Okay, what kind of legendary creature would be your ally in battle? Okay, a kraken or minotaur, a majestic unicorn or pegasus, a wise phoenix or griffin, or a fierce dragon. All right, so it's definitely going to be a unicorn. Because did you guys know that unicorn is a type of Christ? You know, like an archetype of Christ. I went to Scotland this last year, and there were unicorns everywhere, and I already knew that unicorns are you know, the official kind of animal of Scotland, or like the mythological creature of Scotland, and it's on a lot of royal seals and shields and everything. And anyway, so I did a lot of looking into it while I was there and before I went, and I've always liked unicorns. And I went through a time of not being okay with liking unicorns, and now I'm just going to embrace it. So that's my last question. Okay, let's find out what kind I am. What kind of legend author am I? Oh, how fun. Look at this graphic. So cool. The Wanderies, the Explorers and Magicians. Oh, so fun. The Wanderies often explore the limits of creativity to understand the meaning of the world and their place in it. With the heart of an explorer, the mind of a sage, the spirit of an innocent, everything is a frontier to explore. They wander the imaginal realms between matter and spirit, their acute attention like a wand, bringing life and magic to reality. I just want to go back up and look at this again. That's so cool. All right, and the other, I'm going to read the summary in a minute. The other ones, I guess I can probably click on those too and find out. The Wanderies are imaginative and intelligent writers who often excel in the genre of fantasy and science fiction. They embody the innocent, sage, and explorer archetypes. They often write about inventive characters who challenge the status quo, like Gandalf, Alice, and Neo. Imaginative and intelligent, the Wanderies are excited to explore the meaning of the world around them, to understand how they fit into everything. They are drawn to writing that is fantastical and mythic, exploring the limits of their creativity to unlock the secrets of reality. These writers may embody the sage or explorer archetype, and they often write about characters who bend the rules and challenge the status quo. These writers enjoy themes of journeying, finding a safe way to be free so they can continue learning. So cool. So cool. So you can see the graphics. that he's chosen for these. Love it. Oh, this is so cool, you guys. So there's a daily writing habit, a flow process, a daily prayer, the best time of day to write, favorite drink, daily exercise. This is so cool. There's so much more here than I expected. So then he has a wallpaper and extra resources. This video explores the central archetype of the magician. While crafted for men, the role of the magician is equally accessed by men and women. Mature content advisory. All right, I'm going to have to watch this later. That is so neat. And so I'm not going to go through each of the others, but I'm totally interested to see if you can click on. You can. So if you wanted to find out what the other ones were like, you can click on them and go back and see, and then enter House Wanderies. So this is your opportunity to look at the membership at Legend Fiction and become a part of this this group of writers, and you actually put into this house to be with people like you. So that is super cool. I'm actually already a member. And if you go to legendfiction.com, you can find this quiz right here, Start the Legend Quiz, and then you can find the Join Our Community. Like I said, I'm already a member, so I'm going to log in and show you what that looks like. And you can see all the different tabs here. You've got your community tab, which has like the new announcements and everything. You're writing, if there's a fantasy and a sci-fi section. And then this houses, you can actually request access to be part of your group that you just quizzed into. So that is so much fun. And then you get to join other groups and chat with all the different people that are in Legend Fiction. And there are events all the time, all kinds of weekly writers meetups, some very cool meetings with themes to expand your craft and learn more about writing fantasy and sci-fi especially. So in case you didn't already know, this is back on the main page. Legend Fiction is an author group of Christians, and so the founder is Catholic, but all Christians are welcome here. And if that is something that you are interested in, you're looking for a group like this, then I highly recommend Legend Fiction. And if you want to take the quiz just to see what you come out as, leave me a comment and tell me which group you were put into.